And if you hadn't guessed by now, I love names. Whether that's the name of a location, name of a person, or name of a brand. So I made that channel trailer like 3 years ago in one night. I needed a third thing to say after location and person, and I just went with brand. To this day, I haven't done a video about brand names. Well, I covered Amazon briefly in my Amazonians video, but that doesn't really count. However, that's all changing. Finally, today we're going to look into how 5 of the world's top brands chose their names. All 5 of the entries in this video are actually entries from the companies and brands section of my book, The Origin of Names, Words and Everything in Between, which is available from Amazon in hardback, Kindle and even audiobook form. Links to that will be down below, so why not treat yourself and have a bit of name explain on your bookshelf. But for now, let's look at how these brands got their names. Apple products are some of the most unnatural looking things we have, looking like something that we see more on a spaceship than on our planet. So why do they have such a natural name? Well, there are some fanciful ideas about how this name came to be. One is that it was named in ode to Isaac Newton, in honour of the eureka moment that came to him when an apple supposedly dropped on his head. Another idea is that it was named after Alan Turing, a huge figure in the world of computers, who met his demise by taking a bite into an apple laced with cyanide. Why was there an apple laced with cyanide? Well, that's a whole story unto itself. However, Apple wasn't named in honour of either of these men. In fact, it wasn't named after a person at all. It was just named after apples. While working with Steve Wozniak and trying to break into the world of computing, Steve Jobs worked part-time at an orchard. Jobs worked with many apples at the orchard, and those apples inspired the name. Jobs apparently thought the name Apple was fun-spirited and not intimidating, and after the suggestion of Apple, Jobs and Woz couldn't think of anything better. From movies to television shows, toys to theme parks, there are a few places the House of Mouse haven't stuck their oversized glove fingers in. Disney is obviously named after the founder of the company, Mr. Walter Elias Disney. So the next question is, of course, where did the surname of Disney come from? Disney is actually a name of French origin, Norman to be exact. The surname Disney is something known as a habitual name, meaning the name relates to the location of the people with it. Well, when the name first came to be anyway, as Walt was not from France. The surname was originally Disney, meaning from Isigny. The Isigny in this name relates to the small French cognome of Isigny-sur-Mer. One of Walt's earliest known relatives was a man by the name of Jean-Christophe Disney. From here, the name evolved into Disney as we know it today. Nike started life in 1964 with a completely different name, Blue Ribbon Sports. It's more than safe to say that this is far from the most exciting name, so thank goodness that perhaps the most famous shoemakers in the world gave themselves a more exciting name. But what does this name even mean? It's such a short, weird little word with no real relation to anything. How did this name come about? Well, I was just as surprised to find out as I hope you will be to find out the name of the shoe company Nike has roots in the mythology of ancient Greece. There's literally a goddess in Greek mythology called Nike. Why was it this god and not one of the more well-known gods? Imagine if they were called Zeus shoes that this shoe company are named after. Well, Nike is the goddess of victory. Being a company that makes sports shoes and other sporting goods, it makes sense to name them after a goddess of victory. As you know, victory is kind of important in the world of sports. Nintendo is a company of Japanese origin with their name in kanji being this, which is thought to translate into English as either one of two fairly similar translations. The name is thought to mean either leave luck to heaven or to leave one's fortune in the hands of fate. Now I know what you're thinking, why on earth would a company that makes video games have a name that relates to luck and fate? Well, while Nintendo have always made games, they haven't always been video games. In fact, Nintendo was founded all the way back in 1889. Of course, it wasn't video games they were making at the turn of the century, but card games instead. The card game this early Nintendo made was Hanafuda, a card game native to Japan that is still played today. Over time, the company focused on other kinds of games, from toys to small portable video games called Game & Watch to arcade cabinets. It was while working on arcade cabinets they made a game called Donkey Kong, which featured a character called Jumpman. Eventually, Jumpman's name changed to Mario, and we all know what happened from there. While the name Google might sound like gibberish a baby would spit out while trying to say granny, the word Google has its origin in the world of mathematics. In maths, however, the word is spelled Google, and it's the name of the number that starts with 1 followed by 100 zeros, which is seen as this. Safe to say that is a pretty big number. It's the number the creators of the search engine, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, liked so much that they named their company after the number, as they felt the unfathomably huge number reflected the unfathomably huge amount of search results that the site could give people. These are just 5 of the 10 companies and brands that I covered in the book. So if you want to find out about more brand etymologies and a ton of other etymologies, then please consider grabbing yourself a copy of my book. Links to where you can find it will be down below. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Name Explain depends on small monthly donations from fans like you to help keep the channel running. Just the small amount of $2 a month helps out in a huge way, grants you patron exclusive Name Explain extras, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you.